Welcome to the Ladder Lab. We are the Ladder Lab ladies, a mom-daughter duo. Our mission is to empower the workforce to level up in their careers. We provide proven frameworks that allow crisis to turn into opportunities. My name is Elsie Harrell.
And I'm Sheila Harrell. And today we're going to talk to you about stepping back to step forward.
Now, this is a topic that I've heard a lot of people talk about in terms of where we are with the market, and a lot of companies are now talking about how the importance of you might have to step back in order to step forward. So I've got a couple quotes here from a bunch of individuals who have repeated this pretty often. So quote, "If I step back to move forward, would that negatively impact my career trajectory?" Another quote, "Is stepping back from my current career at this stage the best decision for my long-term professional and personal growth?" We've also been told that, I might need to step back, but I need more income. So is this going to be a bad thing?
Well, I'm going to say, first of all, stepping back to step forward is like Chutes and Ladders.
It is.
The game you all played probably when you were young. Anyway, but from a serious standpoint, I would say that stepping back in today's world with this change going on, it's a massive change that was identified in the jobs report, which I've got all 290 pages of it, indicates that really technology is going to be a huge driver in our future. That does not surprise any of you, I know.
No news.
But sometimes, because it's changing so much, we might need to step back for a little education, for a little opportunity to contribute at a higher level in a different role. I'm going to tell you a story. First of all, let me say this. If the step back aligns with your values and your purpose, and there is a goal of where this step back is taking you, I say go for it. You will be respected for that step back, but it's got to fit within the sequel of your progression story. I want to tell you a story about a friend of mine. This friend had a wonderful career. 2 children, husband, was in the technology world, and was very successful, was an officer at a company, had been asked to go to Europe and actually head up a major transition in Europe. While she was in Europe, the company asked her to take on not only technology, but engineering, which I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. That was handling all of that all across Europe. That's a pretty big job. In the process of that job, she was getting burned out, things were changing, management was shifting. There was a lot going on, like much of you see in your workplace today. And she knew that she needed to make a change. There was no doubt. All of the signs were signaling, make the change. She was offered a position at a lower level to come back to the United States and work for this new company that really wasn't a slick, sexy type of company. But she knew it would give her an opportunity to meet some of those value needs of getting her children back to where they needed to be, aligning her family and aligning her mindsets to where she needed to go. However, this position was not in her trajectory of the jobs she had. It was in an HR role. That's what she said. I'm not sure I want to leave the tech world and the engineering world I've stepped into. However, it did align with her personal values. So through talking with her and coaching her through, she made the decision to step forward. She is now, she stepped into the role. She took with her this role all of the skills, the techniques, the experiences, the ideas that she had in the other job. That didn't go away just because the job title changed. She took all of that. So once she stepped into this role, my gosh, she was a dynamo. She just started coming up with ideas. She was able to function and now coordinate with those other areas. She is now Chief Technology Officer of a major corporation in the U.S. and has won many awards and is being very successful, but she stepped back to step forward, changed her life. So I would say, if it aligns with your values, you lose nothing. You're gaining, but it's got to align, it's got to meet with your overall purpose, and it must be able to get you something on the other side. For her, she had a personal need, but once she stepped in,
Right.
she took all of her skill sets.
I do think a lot of people, younger people my age, potentially would say, well, did she know she always wanted to be in HR? Like, you look at the end product and you don't know the journey that she went through to do that. And so it's interesting to see that she did that, but every step of the way, that prepared her for that bigger job that she didn't even know when the right opportunity opened up, when the door opened, she was ready for it, as you talked about. But yes. I know we spoke in the last video about building better habits. And if you haven't listened to that, go back and watch it. We can link it down below. But it's true that a habit becomes part of your daily life. It can really be transformational. So if you keep your true north in mind and what's important to you, and that changes over time, that's dynamic, it can lead to more opportunities where you're focused on going. And so when a new opportunity arises, even if it means stepping back, it might be the right thing to do. I will say, I know we've got a future job report, so maybe you can jump into that, and I've got some steps after that. So.
Well, to your point about transformational,
right.
I think that's a good way to describe what's happening in the marketplace. It is transforming, and you don't want to be left behind.
It feels uncomfortable right now, though.
It does. It's shaky.
Yeah.
It's very shaky, and even as an executive, I can tell you right now, those executives in your companies, whether it's a small company, whether you're the executive, you're building a company, you are strategizing, even the large companies, you're strategizing right now over what do we do next to get ahead of this new AI push. In the jobs report, it's the future jobs, the drivers that are driving this labor market transformation are really key. One is broadening digital assets and access. So that means most everything, as you know, you've seen it happen and it's been moving in this direction. It's just moving faster with the access of big data being streamlined. So understanding that that's going to play a big role in every industry in the marketplace, whether it's healthcare, manufacturing, building, the construction industry, whatever it is, will play a big role. So understanding terminology. Another macro trend that's driving this is the rising cost of living and higher prices. So companies are sitting around, and they're sitting around tables saying, I've got to streamline. So Deloitte just had a report that came out discussing the conflict in the workplace between workers and leadership. And if you think back to 2020, what happened? People went home, we got a little comfortable at home, we got our little routine, we liked our routines. I know you did. And then
I like my routine.
Now company wants you to come back to work.
It's tough.
The company now has to grow revenue. Well, in growing revenue tends to mean creating new products and services. Well, there's the shift in the marketplace with all of this technology, and it's new. So strategic planning at all arms of the company is looking at what they're currently doing, adjusting the goals, then adjusting the staffing to meet those goals, and looking for new ways of producing revenue.
That's like Apple adding the 20,000 jobs to R&D.
Yes.
In the future.
So Apple is trusting that if we do this, we'll get more research, and that research will drive to an end game.
Right.
Well, what does that mean to you who's in the workplace? Well, what this says is that this report says that these micro drivers of business, there are others. The other piece is people like me who are leaving the workforce. That means all kinds of jobs are opening up. But those jobs may not stay at the position they're in. They'll shift. They'll be maybe collapsed into some other roles. So you need to be ready for that. Well, the question around, do I dig in, or do I leave?
We're stepping back to step forward, right?
So you're right. We're stepping back to step forward. So do I dig in there in the company that I'm at, step back to go forward by learning in a role that I have, or do I move forward by moving out and moving into a new role that moves out.
Right. And in order to make that decision, there's some steps that you need to take. And I definitely think that there is a financial application to this, because if it's a role that's too far back, for example, I thought I was going to step into sales at one point, and this role was going to be an entry-level position for someone right out of college, but financially, that was a big step back. Sometimes for a financial purpose, it doesn't make sense. And long story short, didn't end up taking it. But number one, your financial analysis, you need to understand the current situation that you're in. If you step back, can you maintain your financial commitments, whether that's your rent, whether that's a mortgage payment, whatever that may be, just making sure that you can meet those, that's number one. I mean, you can't even make that decision without that.
Or make a decision to step back there too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You could also do that. That's very true.
Your choice.
Very true.
I like to see people progress financially, though.
Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah. I would say build a personal mindset that is around innovation. I think right now it is key that you be a player in this marketplace. Yeah. So how do you become a player for your potential employer? Well, you're going to bring something to this table that they're needing. And right now they're needing organization, they're needing focus, they're needing ideas, they're needing...
Not someone just do the job.
They're not looking for routine maintenance people to just do the job. They're in crisis mode too. And they're looking for people who can contribute to the success of the job.
Right.
And bring the ideas forward. Well, how do you bring ideas forward? You've got to get your own innovation mindset that says, I might need some new education.
Right.
What are you doing to use the AI tools and start practicing with them and learning them? Who are you meeting with that might be participating in that world, whether in whatever industry you're in? If you're in healthcare, and there's groups that are focusing on how do they move more technology into healthcare, join them. If you're in the plumbing industry, that industry's changing, products are changing. If you are interested in robotics, start digging in. Cybersecurity, all aspects of industry will have this layered on AI approach. And this is nothing new to you. No. You're hearing it everywhere.
I think the third thing is dropping that displaced identity. Saying that I'm a program manager, or I'm a software engineer, or whatever the job may be, or I'm a lawyer. Drop that. Whatever's on your dog collar, as we call it, you've got to drop that, because that will be a barrier for you to be able to step into that growth, potentially that next job, even if it is a step back, because that title can keep you from reaching that, like your friend, what you're describing, that stepping back, she had to drop the title and say, okay, I'm willing to give that up to be able to step forward. So it's important for me, even in my role, to drop and keep in mind that does not define who I am. I'm a program manager, but I'm much more than that. My purpose, my values, all of those are really who define who I am.
Yes. There's a star that I work out with, and she decided to change the type of roles she was taking in a movie. And she ended up having to step back to some smaller roles, and she said that gave her the trajectory into other roles because people saw her in a bigger setting. I had a coach tell me one time, they've got to see you at the table. How do they see you at their table? Well, usually someone who is in leadership in any company sees themselves as, in the club. There's a club that we work together to strategize over where we're going. And if you are a routine employee who's not really growing in the changes in the marketplace, then you're not seen at the table and asked to join the club.
You got to take on special projects,
and you've got to be willing to step into that.
Yeah.
And so back to what you said, drop the pedigree, start finding ways to step in and contribute. We're in a contributing time these days. Be the one that contributes.
Well, thanks for joining the discussion today. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and send it to someone who needs to hear this type of content today.
Yes, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's very important. We're going to dig in more into this jobs report. You're going to see some skill sets that you're going to need to learn. So make sure you are really digging in. Make sure that if you need to step back, build that plan to step forward. Go for it now. Now's the time to start contributing, even if it's at a little spot in the workplace.
Yeah, absolutely. True words.